your attention, please. It's time for the final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
go! Good evening, everyone. We are live now and on YouTube as well as on Google Meet. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining on today's Healers Talk show. And today we have with us, we're privileged to have such a renowned speaker, I can say. We learn a lot from her. And today's speaker is Vasumathi ma'am. And today's topic is a very wonderful topic. We must understand about this ego. Like we always know about this term, but what is this which is stopping us? So this ego depletion. And about Vasumathi ma'am, she is freelancer counselor, she is research scholar, she is a psychologist, she done lots of researches in the different fields, and currently she is also doing research in field of schools, and also bringing up that society, that community where everyone get mentally healthy, mentally fit. And we are so privileged to have you, ma'am, here on this platform. And whoever is listening in this video or audio format, we are glad to have you here as well. So today the topic will be the ego depletion, and after the topic there will be Q&A session. You can ask your questions there. You can raise your hand. So with this short intro, we are so glad to have you, ma'am, here. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Shweta, for this very warm welcome. Good evening, friends. I'm Vasumathi. I'm a research scholar and a freelance counselor, and I am very happy to be a part of this platform. And regularly, I do webinars here, take sessions, and I'm very happy that Shweta has got such a beautiful platform, Positive Healers. And as the name implies, the words and the topics which she chooses for this webinar or for the platform is really, really very positive, and we all learn a lot from this sessions. So without much further ado, let me take you towards the webinar. One second. Are you able to see my
Yes, ma'am,
screen?
it's visible.
Yeah. Is it big? Is it in a slideshow mode? Hello? Is it in a slideshow mode? Okay. Friends, today we are going to see a very intriguing topic. I know many of us would have heard the word ego and depletion separately, but this is a new term actually combined together, ego depletion. So what is ego depletion? What does it mean actually? Before going into the topic, I would like to give you a small example where we can understand about this term very easily. I hope most of us are into doing a Sudoku puzzle or a crossword puzzle or doing some challenging task like filling something on a day-to-day basis, right? And I am like that. I like to do or finish a daily crossword puzzle before I start my day, because that gives me the energy. I feel so happy when a small sense of achievement, I should say. When you finish it, you get a positive boost for the entire day to start with. But some days there are to finish it, and when we are scratching our head and trying to do it, we tend to have a small distraction like having a cup of coffee or sometimes a tea or a tea a small quick snack, but we most of us are into a diet conscious now, right? And some people are even cutting down their coffees because too much of coffee they feel is not good for health. So in such situation, if you are a diet oriented person, you want to have a healthy diet, and you go to your kitchen, you see a cake and a carrot piece for you. It would be very difficult for us to choose between these two, because when you're hungry and you need a quick snack, you just try to grab a sugary thing or a cake which is readily available. But because you're health conscious, you're on a diet schedule, you try to peel the carrot, make it into small pieces and take it. So that requires lots of willpower for you to do. Say no to the cake and go to the carrot. But when you come back, you are little disappointed when you take the cake. It's okay because we console ourselves saying, no, I'm just very healthy now. But when you come back, you really do not care after 2-3 minutes whether you finish the puzzle or not. Initially you had that thing to finish it, you have to do the puzzle, but after taking this break, having a snack, healthy snack, you feel that no, I'm not interested, it's okay, I'll do it later. What has changed? So that's what we are going to find out. What is, I'm just giving a small example about filling a crossword. It can be anything. After you finish a 10-kilometer walk, an exercise, you come back, then you have to do really some cognitive task which needs your focus. You feel tired, fatigued. What changed? What happened? So that's what we are going to find in today's webinar. So we all know about ego, right? Ego is the word which we hear it in our day-to-day life. Like he is egoistic, she has a very big ego to admit it. So many words associated with ego, and in psychology we need not tell. It is the most commonly used word with many confusing meanings like egotism, egocentrism, ego defense, super ego involved, and whatnot. So many things we hear about ego, correct? But now we are going to understand, is what we understand about ego is the same ego which is mentioned in all these things in psychology or anywhere. Is ego something different, or is it the ego which we think as ego about people? So when you put simply, very simply, the English word ego is the Latin word for I, in the sense literally translated. Ego means I in Latin. That is Latin word. Most of the English words have come from Latin, and I is actually the ego for I. Okay, the English word for I in Latin is ego. Okay. And since Valentine Day is right around the corner, I can tell you, if you need to write I love you in Latin, you can write ego amoti, ego amoti, right? So but if you see, ego actually crept into psychology mostly by the work of Sigmund Freud. And Freud, you know that he's considered as a father of psychology. And according to Freud's theory, we all have read that ego is actually a part of your personality which arbitrates or mediates between your instant gratification or the animalistic desires called eth and your moral values called superego. So when you need to do something immediately, for example, without thinking about the consequences, you are hungry, you see a bread and you want to take it immediately without thinking that you have to pay. So that is your eth. And your super ego tells, your moral values tell that no, it is wrong, you cannot steal, you have to be hungry because you have got that thought and you are not supposed to take it. Stealing is wrong. In between these two, you are hungry, that time you need to. So that time your ego comes in between and says you can pay and take it, it is no wrong, go, if you have the money, go pay and take it. That's how it mediates. The instant impulse which you get is your eth, and your moral values which prevents it is your superego, like your police. And your ego controls and balances these both. Okay. But surprisingly, I will tell you, the word ego does not appear in Freud's extensive works. You know, Freud was actually a psychiatrist. actually an Austrian, and most of his writings were in German. Okay, he had used the word for ego as das ich, DASICH, which literally means I. He had never used the word ego there. He had used the word which gives a meaning of I, which the English translation had made it as ego. So, in the essence, Freud was actually representing the conscious decision making part of yours as ego, that is I. So, like, I like my neighbors, that is a conscious decision, right? That is a way that you consciously take that you like your neighbors. I decided to change the jobs. I dreamt of building a big house. So that is your I, that is your ego. So the ego which is mentioned in psychology, or the ego which we are going to learn, is that I, your conscious decision making part, which is your willpower, or also called as the self control, which how the willpower or your self control goes down. Does it goes down? Does it like an energy reserve? Does it goes out? Does it go up, or does it go down, is what we are going to find out today. So basically, what is ego? So ego, in a very simple term, is a part of yourself which mediates between the world and your impulses. So which we have seen between your animalistic impulses and your outside moral values. How it mediates between that is your conscious decision making. So if you want to have a cake immediately, is your eid, that is your impulse. And because you are dieting, you should not take, is your moral policing, which is your super ego. And in between, which says that you cannot take, and it says after one week or after reducing your weight you can take it, is where the conscious decision or your willpower comes and says no, it is not bad for your health, so you have to take this. That's where your ego comes in. Okay, so we understand what ego is. It's a part of your psyche. So it is your responsible for your ability to interact within yourself and the outside world. Now, we will understand what ego depletion is. So, when I say ego depletion, for example, we are hungry. In an office, we go to our break room and we see freshly baked donuts kept to one side and a granola bar there. And it is very challenging to say, okay, I'll go with the granola bar, right? When the smell is so nice, or you are having a stressful day in the morning and you want to have a coffee, but you are on a regime that only one coffee in the morning, one coffee in the evening, and rest of the day you are ready to take hot water. That's how you have practiced till this day. Now, it is a very stressful day and you're not getting any ideas. You want to take a break. You go to the break room and you see the coffee smell coming, and you see your friends, colleagues having tea or coffee, and you have to take a water. It requires enormous willpower to say no to coffee and take a water, or healthy water bottle, buy a water bottle and just go back to your place. Most of the times, right, it can be it's like a physical struggle for us to stop ourselves from indulging from any sweet treat, or taking a coffee or drink or going somewhere. It is a very difficult challenge for, and we face it every day. So what happened in the late 1990s? There was a psychologist called Roy Baumster. So what he did, he and his colleagues, they were from Western Reserve, Case Western Reserve University. So they conducted an experiment on this type of willpower which each one is facing. So they took a group of students and they made them into two groups, and they took them to a room where there were two plates of food. Okay, one plate was having fresh cooked baked cookies, and the other plate just had red and white radishes. Each group was allowed to eat one from only one plate. That is, group A can take cookies and group B can take radishes. They cannot take from both the plates, or they cannot change it. Okay, so the thinking was that the group that was allowed to eat only radishes would have to expect serious willpower to resist eating the cookies. Though it was in front of them, they have to resist from eating it, right? Next, what they did was, after this eating task was finished, they took the groups and they gave them a puzzle to work. Now, the puzzle was actually very difficult and it was actually impossible to finish. Now, the researchers wanted to see which group would work on the task longer. It is not for them to finish, but who can work on that task or the puzzle for a longer time with that sense of doing it. Okay. And they were anticipating that the group which was having only radish would have spent, actually they have already spent their energy reserve of their willpower in saying no to cookies and having only radish. So they would give up on the puzzle very quickly. And to the surprise, that is what happened actually. So the participants who denied themselves the cookies, right? They lasted for an average of just 8 minutes. Whereas the cookie eaters who did not have any problem of using their willpower because they were actually enjoying the sugary treat, they actually were able to hold on for 19 minutes with that puzzle. So this was where they coined the word as ego depletion. Ego here is just your willpower or the self control, and how it depletes when you expend it too much on one task, and when you are going to do the next task, you are mentally fatigued. So that is where this term was coined. Now, some psychologists actually believe that the willpower is just like a muscle in its own way. You can imagine it like a muscle, and like a muscle, it can get tired. That's what the researchers actually came to a conclusion, and they told that how you can work your body to become either stronger or making it weaker. Same way you can make your willpower also to become weak or make it stronger. So when does it happen? It happens when people use all their willpower at one single task. And as a result, what happens? They are unable to actually you exercise the willpower on the other tasks, and subsequently they are often unable to finish the second task. Okay. So that is what ego depletion is. So why is it important to know about it? Why should we know about ego depletion? Is it anything very important about it? Yes, because if the willpower and self control is less for us, we will not be able to finish or achieve higher goals which we have in our mind. So for every human being, the willpower should be strong, the self control should be strong, because it is beneficial in a number of ways. People who possess high self control or high willpower, we have seen that they have better relationships, they have higher achievement levels. So self control or willpower is very, very important for everyone. So we need to see how we can see that the energy or our willpower doesn't reduce with just one task. Now we have understood about this, but what causes it? What are the causes for having this ego depletion? Does it just go with just avoiding a sugary treat or a chocolate or a cake just like that? No. There are many choices and decisions in our life, such as when we do when you are in a position where you have to take initiatives continuously, either in your office or at your personal life or with your friends. Actually, when you do that, right, you have so much of focus, you have so much of energy spending on that. And once you finish the task of doing the initiatives, then when you come back, you really feel tired, you mentally feel tired. So that is one reason. The next is prolonged focus attention on one single task. From morning to evening, you are in your laptop working for a presentation, and you are giving the full attention to it. Once you finish it, though you are satisfied with that, you feel extreme tired. You have not, your body will also ask you to relax, because it is not just you have used any of your physical sense, but your mind is fatigued, which does not allow you even to get up. If you are planning to go to a gym after your work, you will not be able to do that. If you're planning to go for a walk, you'll not be able to do that, because mentally you are fatigued. All your energy has been expelled there. The emotional stress, if you're feeling constantly under emotional pressure or stress, your willpower will be affected depleted more quickly, because the stress, when you concentrate on it, it causes your willpower to reduce. So emotional stress causes the ego depletion. Low blood glucose. So when you see, when you have a low blood sugar, right, you feel hungry, you feel like a sort of fainting, nauseatic feeling will be developing with you. And when you see food kept, you don't wait, or you don't calculate that, oh, I should eat only healthy food. You quickly go and grab whichever is in your hand. So you cannot resist the temptation when you have low blood glucose. So that also decreases your willpower. Then we have excessive choices. I will explain about that in the later slides, but we have numerous choices before us for everything nowadays, right? When you open your online shopping, if you want just a top, you have at least 100 brands before you, 100 colors, 100 sizes, 100 shapes. And when you go one by one, at one point you are tired, you are fatigued by the choices you are given. Unfamiliarity, something new, you are moving into a new job, new territory, new place, changing your home, new neighborhood. So all that requires more focused attention to make yourself familiar there. You try to fix yourself in that territory. When you do that, you require more attention, more of your energy is spent, which will reflect that you will not have time to, say for example, you are dieting and you have moved to a new city and a new work. You will see that there will be some relaxations or some failures in your regular diet regime. Then cognitive dissonance is where when your mind is not in acceptance with the behavior you do. So for example, you do not agree with the work you do, you are not morally acceptable with some works which you are doing in your office, right? That causes too much of making yourself accept, either leave the job or accept as how it is. So that sort of situations also make your willpower reduce. Either you have to give up your job, where financially it would be a big trouble for you, or if you accept, then you have to give up the willpower of your moral value which you have been holding strong till now. Both are very difficult, and it will lead to ego depletion. Then you have your heart rate. Sometimes there we have certain emotions like fear, anger, excessive joy, excessive sadness. So the heart rate varies. When your heart rate varies, actually it leads to actually a lower self willpower or self control. Then hormones. When I say about hormones, basically it is about for women. So women, if you see, they feel decreased self control during their premenstrual syndrome. That's where they have before menstruation, they feel a little bit low, because their ovaries work harder during this phase of menstruation, and this leads to reducing their willpower as well during that time. They tend to eat, I've seen many of my friends eating chocolate, those who have avoided or being very freaky about having healthy food. They tend to eat chocolate because they feel that eating chocolates actually increases their mood. They have low mood during that time, so hormones are also a cause for this. And age also is a very important plays a very important role in your in your ego depletion. So people who are older actually are able to um, withheld or resist the ego depletion, whereas younger generation or younger counterparts actually go through serious ego depletion very quickly. Another very very important thing here is about illusory fatigue. Illusory fatigue is nothing. See, tomorrow you have to do a presentation in your work, or you have some guests coming and it was a short notice for you, and the amount of work you have to do when you make a list, it's huge. So mentally you think that it is going to be tired for you. Tomorrow it's going to be a very difficult day, a hard day, a long day for me. So once you form that, automatically what happens is your energy levels will fall down. And that actually helps your ego deplete very faster than the normal. That is an illusion you have a fatigue. It might not be true when you start working, it might not be true, but before you start, you are mentally fatigued. So these are the causes actually for ego depletion. And there are many situations, like very important situation I would like to bring here apart from these is when you have to work without any reward. When there is a hard work where you do it, but at the end you know there will be no appreciations, there will be no promotions, no salary hike, not even a single word from your boss, but you have to do the work. That actually reduces the willpower of us, and it's a hard work where nobody else can do, and you have to do it whole day. It can be anything. I'm just putting an example of a work situation. It can be at home where you do so many jobs, which is uh, we do many thankless jobs, and at one day we realize it is thankless, and our energy level or the willpower goes, and we don't continue that work anymore with the same vigorous passion which we used to have, right? So the any work which goes without reward also will drain your ego very easily and will result in a reduction of your willpower as well. Now, what is the connection between the mind and your willpower? Is there a connection of between your ego depletion and your mind actually? Do we have a connection in that? Let's see how mind works in it. We all know that mind is actually a very interconnected array of nerve pathways, right? And they all need certain chemicals and energy to work. Now, your brain receives all the informations through your sensory organs, through your eyes, ears, by your skin. And what happens? They transfer it to the control center in your brain, which decides what to do next. Correct? It all happens just in a fraction of a second. It's like having I would say like millions, hundreds of billions of small work people there waiting for you. Once they receive, they they put, they flip on the certain switches at the right moment, and working together they make the actions happen in our body. Correct? Imagine like that. Now, as I said, the nerve connections there, right? So those are called as neurotransmitters. The chemicals require certain chemicals which are called as neurotransmitters, and these neurotransmitters are the small people which we are having to flip the correct switch and turn on the next connection down to the line. And there are so many other parts like your heart, the neurotransmitter, the other organs, the blood. Everybody are working for you to do the next action, whatever you see, how you receive, how you behave, what is your response to that. So many things are working inside your body, and for all of it to work properly, we need resource, they need energy. And this energy is given to you by your diet, your rest. It can be affected by your stress. They can be affected or affected by these things. Now, ego depletion theories, actually what they say is, this area of your brain which decides what to do next, which puts the button, right? It's closely interconnected to draw the resources, okay, from the same storehouse from where all these neurotransmitters, everything is, that is your diet, your sleep, your rest, your stress, everything is connected also to your decision making area. So, if even if you are rested, well fed, emotionally calm, okay, but there is a constant drain. You are sleeping, you are taking food, everything, but you're constantly thinking of something. That is, for example, taking an initiative. You're constantly thinking and using your willpower to make it. Then it becomes increasingly difficult for that area to create, to stop you or resist you from other urges which you have in, or make wise choices in other things. So basically, if you see, the more amount of willpower you give for one single task actually makes your decision area become depleted. So that's how your mind and the ego depletion are connected. Now we go further into understanding about the examples of ego depletion. I have told you many things now, but we will see very quickly few examples in our day-to-day life. First and the foremost is giving up on our weight loss goals. Right? What are the examples of ego depletion which we face? So I'll tell you, the whole day you might be diligently sticking to your diet. You eat healthy breakfast at lunch, and also you resist if your friend is giving you a cake for his birthday, or you might resist if your colleague brings you a sweet or anything. Okay. And night you arrive to home from and you're really tired because your willpower has been gone in resisting all the junk foods from morning till night. Now when you come home, in front of you your family is having a big pack of pizza, and they are having it. Either you can go into the kitchen, make your salad, or you can have it them. Now, at that point, what will you do? Being a Friday, tomorrow is going to be a holiday. We just will take the easy route because we are tired, and we just go and say that, okay, it's okay today. Just one. From morning, I have been following it. I'll take one piece of pizza. Okay. So at that moment of dinner time, your ego has been depleted, in the sense, from morning you have used your willpower extensively. So at the end of the day, your energy or your willpower has come low, and you are ready to take. You are not able to resist the urge to go for a junk food. So instead of having your planned healthy meal, which you would have thought while coming, you just go for the easy food, and you just sit before the TV and watch what's happening. So that's how it affects your weight loss goals. Many of us slip in our weight loss goals. If you ask the people, coaches who tell that you have to follow the chart, they will give you many cases where people actually lack or give up on the goals. This is because they try too hard, too hard. They fight again with full willpower initially, and then they just drop. Second is the athletic performance. Athletic performance is where if a child is good in studies or good in his physical things. For example, he's a runner. Before that, he has an exam to attend, and it's a math exam, and he has to pass it, and it is a difficult thing. He has to write, he has to study hard, and once he finishes, he will be mentally fatigued. So that affects his physical performance the next day. It has an effect on his physical performance as well, because already he feels that he is tired. The third one is the consumer behavior. We all have too many choices, as I've told you earlier, to decide which one we need to buy. And we make nearly, if you believe, 35,000 decisions in our daily life, approximately. Okay. So this actually leads us to deplete our ego very faster when we have so many choices. At one stage your brain gets saturated, and our willpower to stick to certain procedures which we had kept at the first before buying the thing actually goes down, and we buy whatever is there. And financial troubles impacting our finances, like when your ego is depleted, right? We actually buy without thought. We take poor financial decisions, and sometimes people don't put the budget because they feel that very tired looking and calculating their money again and again and again. And they also, sometimes we spend, when we are very stressful, we spend, go on shop and buy something to make ourselves happy. So these are very few examples which we can see that how ego depletion affects our in our day-to-day life. And seeing it in brief, we saw it in brief. Now we are going to see in detail some more things which affects in our day-to-day life, like dieting. So if you see, chronic dieters actually have a very difficult task in keeping their willpower at the high always. It is very, very difficult for them, as I have explained earlier, that you have to make a choice after a long work day. From morning you have been resisting eating the junk food or anything which you like, and end of the day you give up. Decision making, again it comes to the consumer thing which I've told you. So for example, we want to buy a car, or we want to build a house, and we look for the loan options, right? Nowadays we get so many comparisons. We get 20 to 30 people offering loan, and we have certain criteria, and we start reading one by one. At the end of the day, you get so saturated because there might be informations which might be true, which might be fake, which might be maybe true, maybe false. So taking one decision one by one and doing, and finally it is very actually very draining for your mind and for your decision making area. After some time you have given a prolonged focus attention to it, you just end up into any financial contract at the last minute, because you keep on checking, and one point, because you have many choices. If you decide at one thing, it's easy to make two things, yes it is, but nowadays we have choices to make, so many, with so many things available. Even when you go for shopping, as I told you, you keep on looking for brands, you keep on so many things, the choices are there, that finally what happens is you will be mentally and physically fatigued seeing so many things, and you end up just buying something out of the shelf, or some cheapest thing, or some name, the brand which you have heard already, so which you recognize, you just take it instead of going with what you want to in mind. This is one of the bad effect of decision of ego depletion in decision making. We make many wrong decisions because of that. Then performance, as I told you, when you have a cognitive based activity, a difficult cognitive based activity a day before, and physical activity, then when you expend all your mental reserves for that, the next day you are going not to perform very perfectly how you want to. Then the substance abuse or substance use, you see, because when our ego is depleted, or a willpower is at the low reserve, we get into impulsive behaviors, because your ego is not there to correct or make you stop. So your id, that is your impulsive activity, says that okay, smoking will help me energize, though you know it is wrong, but impulsively you go for that, or drinking, using alcohol. So all this actually, if you see, happens when your ego or your willpower is at a low reserve. And one more thing is, even when people are trying to quit smoking, many people go back after 1 or 2 months saying that it is very difficult for them to do quit smoking, because they use the willpower extensively to stop smoking, right? At one point, there is no willpower, the energy is very less, and they just give out and they start smoking. The same for burnout, that is when you are under constant stress, pressure, it leads to ego depletion. And learned helplessness, when you are in a situation when you feel that whatever you do, you, it is not going to impact your give you any improvement, when you feel that there is nothing you can do, your willpower reduces, and you would be at the low ego depletion, right? So these are not very good effects. The ego depletion actually impacts our day to day life in number of ways, not in a productive way, but it gives you very difficult life ahead when you do not know how to increase your willpower, how to have a self control, how to make the ego depletion not happen. So how do we do that? How can we prevent it? It's actually very easy for us when we think, but it is not that easy for continuously having your willpower. Let me show you some easy ways where if you practice it continuously, yes, you can do it. You can increase your willpower. You can have a great self control. First is using implementation intentions. That means using if then statements. Okay. So, for example, if you understand that, if you visualize that, okay, at home, when I go back, see, one day you go back, you're tired, you take a pizza, you eat, and you feel guilty. The next day morning, the moment it has gone inside your stomach, you feel, oh my God, I have made a mistake. From morning, I have tried so much, I have made a mistake. What will I do now? Right? So, see that it doesn't continue the next day. So plan ahead how to avoid such impulsive actions, right? So for example, if you feel that you're going to take a pizza once you return home, so while coming, think, or in the morning think, if I return home tired, then I will take pizza. Instead of that, let me prepare my dinner, let me prepare my salad, let me prepare my yogurt and keep it inside in the fridge. for anything. If you want to buy something, if you feel that if you see something you buy it just like that, you have the impulsive behavior of buying something. So if I see something I want to buy online, right, you just think, then I will save the page for later to avoid my impulsive purchases. So plan ahead. Planning for the future implementations you will have because of your actions will help you to prevent such ego depletions. Next one is taste something sugary. People or some researchers or some studies have shown that there is a link between blood glucose and willpower. Some psychologists have theorized that since glucose is essential for our energy and also enhances your brain and makes you feel happy, right? So take a little bit of sugar in your tongue. Don't even eat it. Just put it in your tongue and you can spit it out. The taste of sugar actually gives you energy. Or if you want to stay with your motivation, like after a stressful day or after having a very difficult cognitive task where you have to focus fully, and next you have to do something, some other work, your personal work, take a lemonade with sugar, have little bit and you will feel happy. So that is one of the thing given by the psychologists. The third one is take a break with positive experiences. So actually if you see, a positive mood is shown to mitigate the effects of ego depletion. It decreases the ego depletion and increases your willpower. So try taking, when you feel that your energy is low, take a break. Go to the nature, walk in the nature, or you see some funny movies where you can enjoy, or you see, spend time with your friends, talk to your friends, take a small break which brings back your energy, and then you can start rebuilding your work. Catch up on sleep. A well rested body, we know that will give you a well improved mood or a better mental performances. So if you're in an office, you feel tired, take a quick nap, close your eyes for just 5 minutes, and see that you get an immediate energy flow. So that helps to again rebuild your willpower. Or if you're back home, sleep properly, take a proper sleep. Sleep always helps you and keeps you in a better mental state. Eat the frog. That's a funny sentence actually, and it has been taken from the project management technique actually. So eat the frog is nothing but do the hardest thing in your day first. Prioritize your work which you need to finish. Do that first when your willpower is at the peak. So once you finish your prioritizing and start with the first important work, you will know that you can complete it, and that will slowly give you the thing that okay, the next ones I can do it. Limit your exposure in the sense, see, if you're surrounded with people who eat junk food and you are the one opening your box having only carrots, it would be very difficult. One day you can be like that, 2 day you can push with your willpower, but at on a going state continuously, right, it would be very difficult to say that no, you all eat pizza every day, you eat all junk food, nice smelling coffees you have, I will just limit myself with only this. No, we are all human beings. It will take long effort for us to do that. So limit your exposure. Do not go to that group of people. Avoid. Make sure that you have a healthy group where you can sit and talk and enjoy and share your experiences of having healthy food. Or even for not only dieting, for everything I'm saying, I'm just giving you an example with diet because it is easy for us, for all of us to connect, whether you are a student or you're working or you're a housewife or you are an aged person. So it is very easy for us to connect with our diet. So I'm giving you the example more with the diet base. Then change your outlook. For example, if you feel that the work what you're doing, like walking every day makes you mentally as well as physically tired, and you just feel that you want to give up, just think about the effect of it, what you will be getting out of walking regularly. Just visualize yourself, whether you're doing it for your weight loss, or you're doing it for being healthy, or you're doing it to meet other people. So the goal becomes bigger goal. Just look at the bigger goal. Don't look at what you are going through right now. The more you visualize on the bigger goal, your willpower or your energy reserve will slowly climb up, because it is the habit of human being to look for rewards when you do anything. That's very, very normal and common. So just look what the final goal is and what you're going to get out of it. So that will actually help you. Think about what matters you, right? If sometimes when you are stressed, exhausted, take a moment to remind yourself of things that matter to you most. Make positive affirmations. Why am I doing this? Who am I? Think about yourself. Think about your positive personality of who you are. And that actually helps you to overcome this ego depletion. And practicing stress management. If you see stress management, stress actually gives you ego depletion very faster. So managing your stress actually not only strengthens your self control, but it also helps you to manage in a better way in the areas where your ego is depleted in various other activities. So when you habitually manage your stress, like practicing relaxation techniques, doing mindfulness, meditation, yoga, where you recharge your mental energy, not only when you are actually having an ego depletion, but on a regular basis. Even when you are at a high of your willpower, when you manage and do this relaxation techniques, you will see that when your energy is less, when you are mentally fatigued, these relaxation techniques come in hand and help you so easily to overcome this. Then improve your mood. So as I told you, being in a positive mood always have beneficial impact on your self control. In some studies, if you see, ego depleted participants, they have taken two groups. One was having ego depletion and the other was having non ego depletion. So these two groups were taken, and the people who were having a low self control or low willpower were made to watch a comedy movie. Okay, and then they were given the task, and the other group was just made to do the task. And if you see, actually the people who were having that ego depletion, after watching the movie, after watching a positive, after coming to a positive mood frame, they were able to do the task very well as the non ego depleted participants. So that's how your mood actually helps you to fight this ego depletion. Now, though this theory had many advantages, and though this theory explained why sometimes we are mentally fatigued and we are not able to keep up to our goals, why we are not able to continue with our willpower till we reach the goal, why very few people have that self control, why many of us fail in our achievements and goals because we do not have that self control. So, though this theory explains all this, there are criticisms about it as well, and I would like to bring it to your attention that these criticisms are also given by renowned psychologists and researchers. So this can be taken into consideration. So we have seen that taking sugar acts as a willpower juice, but researchers have proved that it is not so. You know why? Because sugar cannot enter your bloodstream so fast enough for anyone to boost mental energy. Physically, you might get the energy, but mentally with sugar, you cannot. So, brain is an organ, it is not a muscle. So, the brain uses the same number of calories whether you're working on a calculus equation or you're watching any movie. So it doesn't work with just taking sugars will motivate your brain to work, give the willpower to do it, improve your decision making. So this was one of the thing given. But other researchers have shown that having a sugar actually increased the uh, willpower or energized the willpower of the participants. So that had been explained, like how belief drives behavior. That is, you believe that you are having low energy, and when you take sugar, you get energized not only physically but mentally. So that belief had driven your behavior. It's like a placebo effect. So this was the explanation given when people were having ego depletion. people proved that while taking a sugary juices or lemonade or something helps people to re-energize their willpower. So it is a belief driven behavior. Okay. And one more scientist called Michael from University of Toronto, he said that he is the principal investigator of social neuroscience. Okay. He believes that willpower is just like an emotion. It is not a finite resource. Like, we do not run out of joy or anger or anything like that, right? So the same way, willpower also does not run out. It just goes up and down. It doesn't completely goes away. It is not like a battery or like some energy source. It is like an emotion. So sometimes we feel like, okay, I am sad. Same way, sometimes we feel, okay, I am tired. And how we can change our emotions, the same way we can also change our willpower, because it is not like a battery. So that's how he had defined this ego depletion, or he has given the explanation about willpower. So why should we take all these criticisms? Because if you see, instead of taking willpower as a finite resource, if we believe that willpower is like an emotion and we start listening to it and we find ways how to increase it, it actually does good. Because after all, we need our willpower to be the strongest, correct, to achieve our goal. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm having a very bad cold. Excuse me for that. So basically, if you see, instead, if generally we see we give up on tasks which we do not feel happy about, right, which do not engage us, we feel bored and we give up on it easily. And we see we do such tasks, so many in our day to day life. So instead of taking willpower as a finite resource, when we start listening it like an emotion, it helps us to make a logical decision about what we are doing. So when we feel tired, mentally fatigued, and we don't have the energy to carry forward, we can listen to our willpower. We can listen to it and ask, okay, why am I not happy about it? Because it requires more help? No, because I'm not interested in that work, it doesn't give me any reward. Okay, fine. Then we find new paths. When we analyze it logically, we find new paths that may not require us to do things that we fundamentally we don't want to do it. So we have a logical analyzing the situation of how we can come out of that ego depletion when we look at it as a emotion rather than a finite resource. So these criticisms actually give us an idea of how to approach. See, ego depletion is there. That is, a decrease in your willpower is there. Many times we all face it. But how to overcome? There are certain ways, and these are the new paths given by the psychologist or the resource people, right? And see, we should always, finally, we should always be happy with what we work. And that focusing on willpower, we should look at to the power of our will. That is very, very important. With that we come, these are the references which I have taken. And with that we come to the end of presentation, and if there are any questions, I'm ready to answer.
Thank you so much, Vasumati ma'am, for wonderful presentation. It's really, we learn a lot about how we can improve our willpower and how it affects in different areas of our life. So, friends, if you have any question, you can raise your hands. You can unmute yourself. Ma'am, I have my question before ending.
Yes, yes.
Like someone like ego depletion. Now there is a misconception everyone have. Ego is bad. Like actually it is, in some way. So ego depletion in here we can see the decrease of the ego. Means here we also considering the decrease of willpower, right? So that a little bit for clarity you can give.
No, see, ego in a local sense is something what we feel that the person is egoistic, right? In the initial part I told you, we connect it with something on the negative frame of mind. Whereas ego, according to psychology, is a totally different thing. Ego is where which actually balances your impulses and your moral values. So if you do not have that ego, either we would be doing many things impulsively which will not be accepted by the society, or we would be actually punishing ourselves because of the super extreme moral values which we are having, right? So somewhere a person has to find the balance between these two. So this ego here, what I have mentioned, is just that part of your psyche, that part of your personality, and that is what represents I, who I am. I, that's why I said ego is literally translated as I,
Yes.
me. So what I do, what I like, conscious decisions which you take, it is not the unconscious drive which you have. It is a conscious decision which you take in your life. So if you want to become a well, strong willed person, it is a conscious decision you take, Shweta. So that ego here, which we say is ego depletion, is where you reduce your willpower, where there is no balance between your id, that is your impulses, and your connection with your moral world, right? So if it reduces, what will we all become? We all would be there. That's why some many times nowadays we see the crime rates increasing, because people don't have that willpower or the self control against the bad deeds. When somebody influences, they are ready to go behind them, because the ego or the willpower has reduced. The I, the identification of yourself, I stands for the identification of you, it's a part of your personality. So when that goes down, how can you call yourself a Shweta, right? That I identifies you as you. So ego depletion is very, very bad. The willpower should be at the max. See, many people we have seen, they would be sick to the core, but still they will be able to do. At 98 years, I've seen people working. How are they able to do? Because of this I, because of this ego. Because it is not that, see, that's the common term which people use for the negative part of the thinking. Oh, egoistic. No, egoistic is, to an extent it is correct. Egoistic is where you find the identity of yourself. I, right? But for anything there is a boundary. When you cross the boundary, everything is bad, right? So that's where people use it in a bad
Yes,
term. But
absolutely.
generally, ego, which means I, is good as long as it is in a positive side.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much for wonderful answer. Yes, friends, if you have any question, you can raise your hand or you can unmute yourself. Yes, Neelam ji.
इतना अच्छा जिसने बोला हो, सो क्या क्वेश्चन पूछे?
Thank you, Neelam ji.
हाँ, आज अपने मूड में बैठी है, इसलिए इतनी बात कर रही हूँ, देखने के लिए कि आप वासुमती मैम इतनी बोल सकती है कि नहीं. That's good.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Excellent presentation. Excellent.
It means a lot to me, Neelam ji. Thank you so much.
It was very clear and I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Neelam ji. And yes, like Vasumati ma'am, or its presentation is very good, and we learned a lot. And one thing which strike into my mind when you are presenting, like there are so many options nowadays, so many. Like we think we have to choose, and the willpower depletion as a coach, I have seen in people. They generally skip the diet. They generally
Correct.
lose the willpower to go further. Like in gym is a very good example everyone give. They start at the new year first, but they leave there. Thank you so
No,
much,
it is
ma'am.
often. That's why I
Yes.
said, see, diet is where we all can connect ourselves. That is health related habits which we form, right? That's where it requires a lot of willpower, because we do not see the effects immediately. It takes a long run for us to see the efforts of what we have put. The results take a long time. time, and generally human beings have a less patience. Immediate gratification is what nowadays the generations are looking forward. So the moment one day you eat carrot, the next day 1 kilo should be reduced. One day you eat a healthy juice, next day your hip size should be 24. That's what they expect. And once they don't see the result, it goes down. Your willpower goes, oh, I'm doing all hard work. My friends are eating, I'm not eating, still I'm like this. So it is very difficult for them to consistently maintain that willpower. And this ego depletion is a concept which many of us might not have even heard about it. We hear about willpower, but we don't know how to improve it. So that's why I thought this might be useful for the generation now who are looking forward to change themselves but do not know how to do it.
No doubt
Thank you
about
so
that.
much, ma'am. And one
Yes,
more thing.
that is, there
Yes,
is
Yes,
no
please.
doubt.
Neelam.
Willpower they are lacking, and because of the willpower, I am here. Otherwise, I would not have studied. That is the thing. You know my age and
Yes.
all that. So, according to my age, my mother won't like me studying further after my 12th. But I studied. I did my MA. I did my B.Ed, and I started teaching. And that was a sweet surprise for her. This is
No, that
determination.
is true.
Yes,
That is true. The
yes.
generation of your generation, the willpower was at the high, whereas nowadays people don't have it. That's because of the choices they have, Neelam ji. The choices are so much that even if it is one is not there, they can go to the other. There might be a quality difference, but they don't bother about it. Choices are there. You can pick and choose. So they are lacking that willpower. Okay, if I don't do now, nothing matters. I can do it later. I can go for a surgery, change my face, change my nose, change my hip. I can become like a model later. If I earn, I get it. So they don't have the willpower to do it. Whereas in our ages, right, we have only one choice: study. Otherwise, you won't go up in your life. Diet, care your food. You will have a good base for your healthy old life. So this was taught to us, and we had to do it. No choice.
Yes, absolutely. And Vasumati ma'am, what are your suggestion? Like what you suggest for the youth? Like how they, maintain that willpower, how they get their willpower back.
See, that's why I said the methods which I have given for prevention, right? Most of them works. For me, I have tried some of them and it had worked. For example, when I really feel mentally fatigued, I watch something very funny, a small video. I don't take too long, but just 2 3 minutes. I laugh, or I hear some jokes, or go and speak to my kids. So enjoy what they are speaking, or at least listen to something where actually after some time you feel your energy is up. So whatever, or I sleep. The night when I feel the problem is too much for me to handle, or I'm overwhelmed with all this, right? Next day morning when I wake up, you actually find so many solutions because your mind has rested. Again your willpower is energized. Again you know the path how to do it. And I have found many solutions like that. The problems which the day before was too much, I was handled to too much to handle for me. The next day morning was very easy to do it. So sleep actually works. People nowadays don't sleep properly, Shweta. Actually, what happens is they watch Netflix. After 10 o'clock is where they all are happy with their mobiles. They start chatting, they start watching, they start all the activities. They do not keep their phone down till 12, 1 o'clock. So they do not get possible peaceful sleep for, they don't even sleep for 5 6 hours because they have to rush to college or work. So how will the mind get the rest? How will their brain work efficiently? So a very important point for younger generations, I would say, is sleep properly. Sleep early, wake up early. That gives you a longer time to spend during the day. You can finish most of your work. If you have a habit of waking at 5, 5:30, maximum 6, it helps you a lot. So for that, you have to sleep early, at least 10:30. But people don't do it. See, some jobs are like that. I understand. People work in BPOs and all, they have to work. But that is a small population. The bigger population is where they wantingly they spend time in digital things. So I think you were talking about digital detoxification, which is very, very important nowadays. So So that's
Yes,
one thing,
absolutely.
having a positive mindset, not looking for instant gratification. So these 3 points are very, very important for the current generation.
The current
Thank you
generation
so much.
believes in immediate gratification. That's the thing.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. They
Immediate.
want instantly everything.
Yes.
Instant fast food, instant work, instant reward, everything instant for them. And they do not have gratitude also. I'm so sorry to say this, but gratitude is very less. I've seen in many students where I go to schools. I feel sorry. In fact, a ninth standard girl was asking me the meaning for gratitude in a well ICSE board. So I couldn't, I told, being thankful what? So I said, see, you are thankful to your parents? So that is gratitude. But I don't know why I should be thankful. They are doing their job. That's your responsibility. I said their responsibility is to give you education, but not in such a big school. They can put you in a public school. Why should they put? Because my father earns well. Okay, gratitude to us teachers. They are paid to teach us. So these are the answers which actually shocked me a lot. So that is, see, that's all when it comes suicides. Why do people hang nowadays? Why do they commit suicide nowadays? Because the willpower is at low. They feel that they are useless after one small failure. They feel that their ego has depleted. They feel that they cannot do anything. The willpower has reduced. So that's why. So this is very, very important for them to build up that.
Sometimes during my counseling, I tell students, मैं कहा हमारे जमाने में तो इतनी विल पावर थी, तुम लोग तो मर गए, लुट गए, हाय मर गए, लुट गए, क्या हो जाएगा? तो हंसते भी और समझते भी है बात।
True, true. I
मर गए,
know.
लुट गए, मैं तो यही कहती हूँ उनको, हाय मर गए, हाय लुट गए, क्या होगा?
No, actually, Neelamji, though it is, I feel very sad for them. They don't understand the importance of willpower. Even for dieting, how many people are regular in their diet? They have a cheat day. I still remember Virat Kohli's statement. He never has a cheat day in his diet. He says, "Who am I cheating? If I do a cheat day, I'm cheating myself, right? So why should I cheat myself? I never have a cheat day. When I diet properly. I never say, okay, today is my cheat day. I can have anything I want. People give that, but I don't do a cheat day because I'm cheating myself. I'm not dieting for somebody else. I'm dieting for my own personal benefit. So I should have that. And that requires enormous willpower. It is not easy when everybody around you are eating and you say no to it. It's how it is.
Yes, it's about choice. Like if you choose to be the, you want to do it, you just want to do it, no excuses. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Vasumati ma'am. I'm
Thank
really,
you.
really so grateful to have you here. And yes, I also seeing these changes, but yes, the better change is also coming. People are getting aware, and these webinars, and we all contributing towards it to have to become like that and to guide others, because when we become example, we become sample, then only people will follow. The child and youth will
Correct.
see, like, okay, he's getting something, why he or she is smiling, he is healthy. Then yes, thank you so much, Vasumati ma'am, for wonderful session. And
Thank you,
yes,
Shweta, and thank you all participants for patiently listening. And Neelamji, especially to you for asking questions and interacting and making it more interesting. And thank you, Shweta, for asking the right questions, because we might cover few areas, and certain areas when you ask questions, we'll be able to explain it much in an elaborate way. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I'm very happy that I met you all, able to communicate to you. Thank you. Have a good day. I think the day has ended. Have a good night's sleep.
thank you
Good
so
night
much,
in
ma'am.
India.
Yes,
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.
Yes.
yes, yes, friends. In the chat box, you will get the link of Positive Health Healers. You can join us. You can have interaction with us, and you can also connect with us. So, and every Thursday we have this Healers Talk Show to spread awareness, to learn something better. So, thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you everyone for listening so patiently. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
You too. Bye bye.